Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Hands-On Games, and this is the beginning of a series of hands-on episodes that I'm pretty excited about. We're going to go ahead and we're going to run through, not all in this one video, but through a series of videos, I'm going to highlight every currently published Victory Point Games States of Siege game. I'm lucky enough to have collected all of them at this point, and I'm going to go through them from the oldest chronologically all the way up to the latest release. And no, I haven't played all the games yet. I'm starting today with Israeli Independence. I put this through its paces over the past couple nights, and I want to share the game with you guys. But yeah, there's a bunch of States of Siege games. These games from Victory Point Games come up almost daily over on Board Game Geek. When people are looking for introductory war games, introductory strategy games, or solitaire games, over and over and over, States of Siege comes up on a daily basis. So I'm excited to get a chance to highlight all the States of Siege games on this channel. All right, so today what we're looking at is this release from 2008, Israeli Independence, the first Arab-Israeli war, designed by Darren Leveloff and co-developed by Alan Emmerich, who also helped with the graphic design and the game map there by Vince DiNardo. I've also got the expansion kit, which simply adds some additional cards so you can do a few extra variants with the game, making it a little bit easier, a little bit harder, or doing a full campaign with all the cards. And it does come in a poly bag, as most of the current States of Siege games do. A number of the games have been getting the red box treatment and come in a traditional box with upgraded parts and all that. It's really not needed for Israeli Independence. This is a simple game with a very, very compact design, very few pieces. But man, is it fun. It's very addictive. I'm really enjoying going back to this original States of Siege game to see where it all started, because I jumped right in with Dawn of the Zeds and Cruel Necessity. And to see where the whole States of Siege mechanic came from has been a lot of fun. So let me just pause for a second and show you what's in this poly bag. Okay, so I've taken everything out of the outer poly bag, and what you've got is the card that comes in the front of the bag that just has the game information on the front that I've already shown you, with some ads for other games in the back. You have the back of the poly bag, which has information about the game as well as example of play. You have a very well written, very concise, single page, two-sided rule set. Couldn't be simpler. You get a very, very interesting read here in this What is a War Game supplement. And then you get the standard, really, really, really teeny Victory Point Games die. I have no idea how many millimeters that is, but it's not many. We're not going to use that for this video. And you get a very small number of markers or chits. I think there's less than a dozen in there. So there you go. We'll see those during the game. And a very concise and succinct map. For those of you familiar with States of Siege games, it's going to look familiar to you. And finally, your set of cards that is going to drive the game along. It's also the timing mechanism. If you can get through all of these cards before West Jerusalem falls to the Arab armies, you're going to win the game. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the game itself. So here's what Israeli Independence looks like when it's all set up and ready to start playing. You'll see setup here is pretty darn easy. I'm using both of the optional rules for reserve offensives, which is these three little markers here, and for the additional cards, which have already been placed in the deck to increase the difficulty somewhat. The enemies are represented by these tokens. This one is for Egypt. Their national flag is on the token. And you'll notice that there's a number. that's the number when we're fighting these bad guys that you have to roll higher than. It's that simple. So as these armies move along towards West Jerusalem and we want to fight them back, it's a roll of a die. And if you target Egypt and you roll higher than a 3, you move Egypt back 1 space. No one can move back farther than their starting spaces. So in addition to Egypt, we have Lebanon, whose fighting value is 2. Syria is a 3. Iraq 3. Jordan 4. So during the game, a turn is comprised of flipping a card, moving the indicated armies per the card, as Israel then, rolling dice and fighting the armies back, and continuing that until one of a couple things happens. Either one, you run out of cards and no one has made it to West Jerusalem, you win the game. Or one of the armies makes it into West Jerusalem and you lose the game. At that point, you're going to look at the defeat chart on the game and count how many cards are remaining in the deck, in this deck right here. And depending on how many cards are left, that's going to tell you whether you actually ended in a stalemate all the way down to decisive defeat. Now, when you win, there's different types of victories as well. You're going to count up victory points, which will give you either a marginal, substantial, decisive, or crushing victory. And how do you get victory points? It's very simple. Wherever these armies are left on the board, you're going to get points equal to the value of the space they're on. So right here, if Egypt was left on this space, we'd get 3 victory points for Egypt being there. Now during the game, there's also going to be armistices, if that's the right plural for that word, that can happen. So if there's an armistice with Egypt or Lebanon or Iraq, I think those are the 3 that can happen, and you're lucky enough to make that happen, they get removed from play. They won't move towards West Jerusalem anymore, so it's a nice benefit, and they're worth 6 victory points at the end. So that's a way you can get even more victory points, is by pulling off those armistice events. All right, so, and then finally, these chits down here, their use is basically bonus offensives. So when you run out of dice rolls and you still got someone knocking on the doorsteps of West Jerusalem, as the Israeli army, you can spend these to roll the die one more time. And that's it in a nutshell. For those of you that are familiar with States of Siege games, I didn't surprise you with anything there. This is probably the most basic States of Siege game there is. And for those of you that have never played one before, hopefully you're thinking, okay, this sounds interesting. Let me see how it plays. So let's jump into a game or two. I think I'll do one game with the cards that come with the base game, and then I'll do another game and we'll throw in the cards that came with the expansion kit. Okay, so let's play a game of Israeli independence. Now, I'll try to slow this down. I have been just cranking through these games. Once you get the rules down, this game is extremely easy to play fast and furious, and it's really a lot of fun. I'll try to slow things down a little bit for this walkthrough so you can see what's going on. You've got your sequence of play here on the board. It's reveal a card, advance the Arab armies, conduct offensives, and do it all over again. Before we start, a great thing about the States of Siege games is that typically it's of a particular event in history. Some of them are more fantasy related, but most of them are taking a time from history and reflecting it in a game. And so obviously, like I do with pretty much every war game or strategy game I play that's based on history, I did a little bit of reading on the internet and tried to brush up. My knowledge of the Middle East is extremely, extremely weak, and even after trying to read up, it's still extremely weak. This is probably one of the more complicated fields of study I'd have to think in world history. So, forgive me for not talking more about the history of the events. I will mention that for those of you that are into the history, all of these events that happen during the game, there is flavor text, there is historical flavor text that you can read to explain what was happening at that time, there in the new state of Israel. So let me just reshuffle since I just showed that card. We're playing this as a game, not as a history lesson tonight. So here we go. First card. The top of the card is going to tell you where the Arab armies move. All Arab armies retreat 1 space. Not good that we got this card right off the bat, because it doesn't do any good for us. Everybody's already retreated as far as they can go. We get 3 offensives, which means we get to roll the dice 3 times and do 3 attacks, but everybody's already back as far as they can go, so again, no good there. Next card. Egypt, Syria, and Jordan advance. Egypt, Syria, and Jordan all advance, and we only get 1 offensive. We're going to try to knock Egypt back. We have to roll a 4, 5, or 6. We have to roll a 4, 5, or 6. We rolled a 5. Egypt goes back to their number 4 spot. Flip the next card. All Arab armies on circle spaces advance. No, 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 yes. Jordan moves up. Jordan is tough in this game. You really got to keep your eye on Jordan. We get 2 offensives, so we're going to take them both against Jordan. We have to roll a 5 or 6 to knock Jordan back. A 1 and a 1. So no dice. Egypt and Jordan advance. Okay, Egypt up, Jordan up. Jordan's knocking on the door. We get 2 offensives plus 1 DRM versus Lebanon and Syria. If you're not familiar with the term DRM means, it's a dice roll modifier. All it means is you add 1 to whatever your dice roll is. It's a bonus. So we're not going to be attacking, unfortunately, Lebanon or Syria. We need to worry about Jordan. So we get 2 offensives. We need a 5 or a 6. No, we get a 3. And no, another 3. So here we go. We're going to use one of these Israeli offensive bonus counters. We're going to flip it over to the show that's been used. We're going to attack Jordan. Another 3. We're going to do it again. Flip another one. Another roll of the die. It's a 4. Not good enough. The same value is not a hit. You have to roll higher. We're going to use our 3rd right away. This is not how we want the game to start. We get a 5. Jordan finally moves back to their number 2 space. Egypt and Iraq advance this time. So Egypt 2, Iraq to the number 3. I guess I should also mention each one of these cards also has a title at the top, which is just informational about the event that that the card is, the flavor text is talking about. So we've had resistance at Degania, Operation Dekel launched, Palestine's 8 Arab armies, Israeli shoot down British warplanes, Arab resolve weakens. So if you're more into history than I am, that's gonna be fun for you to read and fun for you to read the flavor text. We get 2 offensives, 1 DRM versus Syria if we decide to fight Syria. Let's just go ahead and do that. So our first battle will be against Syria. Take advantage of that DRM. We got him. And then we have 1 more offensive left. This is where it's fun to make these decisions. We could take Iraq back to 4, Jordan back to 3, or Egypt back to 3. Let's go with Egypt. All right, Egypt gets pushed back. Flip the next card. Iraq advances. We get 2 offensives, and here's an armistice opportunity. If Lebanon's army ends this turn in its box 4, at the end of this turn, remove it from play. So we know we've knocked Lebanon out of the game. Not a huge deal. They're a pretty easy army to keep at bay. I did read in this particular war they weren't very active, only for a day or 2. If I'm wrong there, don't quote me on that. So Iraq advances, which we took care of, I believe. 2 offensives, 1 DRM versus Lebanon. We don't need to use it, so let's go with Iraq. And let's take a chance and do Jordan again. 5 or 6. We got it. So Jordan moves back. So now Lebanon is removed from the map and put in the Arab armies removed from play box. Now we ignore any instructions to move Lebanon in the future are ignored. Next card, Egypt advances to 2. No offensives this turn. No die rolls. So we flip again. Syria and Iraq advance. Syria moves up. Iraq moves up. Ah, boy. I'm going after, and we get 1 DRM versus Jordan. It's difficult to waste that. That is really that's a key DRM to get. So we're going after Jordan. Didn't get it. Let's try a second turn. And we got it. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 beats a 4. Jordan's all the way back. All right. Jordan advances. 2 offensives, but no attacks versus circles. We can't fight Jordan. We can't fight Iraq. We can fight Syria in the number 3 spot or Egypt in the number 2. Let's go with Egypt in the number 2. Did not beat that 3. Let's try Egypt again. And we beat him. All right. Arab League. Advance every slowest Arab army by 1 space. Slowest army is defined. You find an army at the farthest back spot. He's at 3, 2, 3, 3. We have 3 armies all at the 3 space, which is the farthest back. They all move forward 1. So now we have pretty much every currently active Arab army on their number 2 spot. And we get 3 offensives, but a -1 DRM to all attacks. So let's start with Syria. We beat them with our net 5. Let's go with Iraq next. We lost that one. And let's try Egypt this time. Another net 5. All right. Next card. Lebanon and Jordan advance. We skip Lebanon. They're out of the game. Jordan moves up. All right. Jordan's on our doorstep again. We get 3 offensives plus 1 DRM versus Lebanon and Syria. We're not worried about them. We're worried about Jordan. So we need a 5 or a 6. That's not it. Second offensive. It's a 5. All right. So now we've got Jordan not back to the 2 spot. We have 1 more offensive left. Let's take advantage of the 1 DRM versus Syria. Good. We needed it. So Syria's knocked back to the 4 space. Next card. All Arab armies on circles must retreat 1 space. Iraq retreats 1. Jordan retreats 1. Egypt and Syria stay where they are. We get 1 offensive. With this 1 offensive, we are going to attack Egypt. And we didn't get it. It's a tie. All right, Syria and Jordan advance on the next card. So Jordan's back up to the 2. We get 2 offensives, 1 DRM versus Iraq. Let's go ahead and do 1 attack against Iraq. Take advantage of that. Knock them back. And we also get an armistice, thankfully. So Iraq will be done after this turn. We will do our final... Let's go against Jordan. We need a 5 or a 6. For our second offensive, we didn't get it. But we now have an armistice with Iraq. Iraq is removed from the game. So now Lebanon and Iraq are out. And we just have to worry about Jordan, Syria, and Egypt. Egypt advances. 1 offensive. Let's go with Egypt. 4, 5, or 6. We didn't get it. Egypt and Jordan advance. This is not good. Now Egypt and Jordan are both right on the doorstep. We only have 1 offensive. And we have no more of our... Israeli offensive chit remaining. So, not knowing what the next card is, I just go with the best odds. Let's go with against Egypt. We lost. If this next card is an Egypt or Jordan advances, we lose the game. We haven't lost yet. Syria advances. We have 3 offensives. We have to get lucky. Let's start with Egypt. Not lucky. Second attack against Egypt. Lucky. All right. So here we go. We have 1 attack left. We're going after Jordan. We need a 5 or a 6 to get them back to their number 2 spot. Back to Ramallah. And we didn't get it. All right. If the next card is Jordan, we lose. Lebanon and Iraq advance. Neither are in the game. We get 1 offensive. We're going back after Jordan again. We got our 5. We're still in this game. All right, next card. Lebanon and Jordan advance. Only Jordan advances. We get 2 offensives, a +2 DRM versus Egypt. But it's Jordan that we have to worry about. So we have to waste this great opportunity to fight Egypt. And also, this would be an armistice situation. We could take advantage of the 2 DRM to get Egypt back here, force an armistice, but we can't ignore Jordan. So... here we go. We have 2 chances to roll a 5 or a 6. That's 1, and our second. Oh, we got a 6. All right. So Jordan's back to the number 2 spot. We're getting close. Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and Jordan all advanced. Egypt, Syria, and Jordan all advanced. Iraq is out of the game. All right. Now we get 3 offensives and 1 DRM for all offensives. So let's start with Syria. All right. That's equal to 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. So Syria is knocked back. Let's do Egypt next. Okay, Egypt's back, and here we go. That desperate fight against Jordan. Can we pull off a 5 or a 6? No. All right, next card, Jordan, we're done. Egypt and Lebanon advance, so Egypt is now knocking on the door again. We get 1 offensive, 1 DRM versus circle spaces. We're not worried about Syria. It's Egypt and Jordan. We'll go with the lowest value one. We're fighting Jordan. I'm sorry, Egypt. I should have said Jordan, but I meant to say Egypt. We did. So they get moved back. Let's see what the next card is. Syria advances. So Syria is up to the 1 spot now. We get 2 offensives, and they all must be versus Jordan this turn. So here we go. 2 offensives against Jordan. Nope. Come on. 5 or 6, 5 or 6. Nope. All right, there's only 3 cards left. We're at least in a stalemate. Even if we lose, the official loss description will be stalemate. Advance every slowest Arab army by 1 space. That would be Egypt. They are the farthest back on any track. So now here we are faced with 3 armies at the gates again. 2 offensive, 1 DRM on all offensive. So let's start with Jordan. Let's start with Jordan. Come on. We need a 4, 5, or 6 with that DRM. And we got it. Jordan gets pushed back. Now for our second, it's either Syria or Egypt. I'm going against Egypt. We didn't get it. 2 plus 1 is 3. Does not beat it. So if this next card is Egypt or Syria, game over. Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan advance. Syria ends up in West Jerusalem. Game over with 1 card left. So in the game, it's an official stalemate with 0 to 3 cards left. All right, so that is Israeli independence, what I would call the base game. It includes the 2 extra cards that make the game harder, plus using these extra Israeli offensive chits that help make the game easier. So it's kind of a wash. But it uses all the bits and pieces from the base game. All right, so let's go ahead and set up the game with the additional 12 cards from the expansion kit. Okay, so we are all set up for what's referred to in the rule set as a campaign game scenario. We've added the 12 cards from the expansion. But the good news is we have a little bit of help this game. We're going to implement an optional rule called Desperation Offensive. Anytime we're fighting an army in one of these 1 spots, we're going to get an automatic +1 dice roll modifier to reflect the interior lines of communication and supply being better for the Israeli army during the battle. So more cards, more battles to fight, but more help here in the interior. In addition, in this expansion, there are instructions for pre-building the deck, removing certain cards to make the game easier or harder. And there's also instructions for playing the historical game. So basically a scenario where you pre-build the deck so that the cards come out in actual chronological order per their flavor text. So, you know, that's another cool part of this expansion. But what we're going to do is referred to as the campaign game, which is just playing per the original rules, using the 3 extra chits here for 3 extra offensives. All the cards and the Desperation Offensive. So here we go. Let's see what we can do. First card, Egypt advances. And we get 1 offensive versus Egypt. And we lose. Lebanon and Syria advance. Lebanon, Syria, 2 offensives. Let's do Egypt again. All right, we pushed Egypt back. Let's take care of Syria. And Syria stays where they are. Egypt and Lebanon advance. Lebanon moving up. We get 1 offensive and a +1 DRM versus circle spaces. None of those exist. Let's take care of Lebanon. No, we don't. That's not good. Syria advances. 2 offensives and they all must be versus Jordan. That's a problem. We can't use them. Jordan's already back at their number 4 space. Egypt, Syria, and Jordan advance. Egypt, Syria, Jordan advance. We have 1 offensive. We're going after Syria. We get the +1 DRM. We get them. All right. All Arab armies must retreat 1 space. 1 back, 1 back, 1 back, 1 back. 3 offensives. Egypt goes back. Syria goes back. And finally, Lebanon goes back. All right, good turn. Everybody's back to their starting spot. Syria advances. We get 3 offensives, all against Syria, obviously. Nope. Nope. And a big fat nope. All right, 0 for 3 that turn. Advance every slowest Arab army by 1 space. That means everybody in the number 4 gets to move up to the number 3. 2 offensives, 1 DRM on all offensives. All right, that's not so bad. With these 2 offensives, let's go Egypt first. All right. Let's do Jordan. Nah. Oh well. Okay, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan all advance. Lebanon, Syria, Jordan. 1 offensive or 2 if both used versus Egypt. That's not useful. So 1 offensive versus Syria this turn. And they stay where they are. Egypt and Jordan advance. Jordan's knocking on the door. We get 2 offensives. They're both going to be against Jordan. Remember, we get the +1 DRM. We need a 4, 5, or 6. We got a 5. We got 1 more offensive. Let's go with Syria. All right, Syria's pushed back. All Arab armies on circle spaces must retreat. Jordan retreats. Iraq retreats, and that's it. We get 1 offensive. We're going to use it against Lebanon. Lebanon goes back. Syria and Jordan advance. Syria, Jordan. We get 2 offensives, +1 DRM versus Iraq, and if we can get Iraq all the way back, we have an armistice. Check it out, they're already there. So we will have an armistice with Iraq at the end of this turn. So we'll use our regular 2 offensives. The first against Syria. Nope. Let's go against Syria again. Nope. All right. Good news is Iraq is out with an armistice. Every slowest Arab army moves 1 space forward. That's these guys on the 3s goes to 2s. So everybody's on 2. The 4 armies that are left. We get 3 offensives with a -1 DRM to each. So let's start with Egypt. Nice roll. We get 1 more. Let's go Syria. Nope. Let's do Syria again. No. 4 - 1 is 3, and that does not push Syria back. All Arab armies on circle spaces advance. Jordan advances. Syria advances. We get 2 offensives. Each of these get a +1 DRM. We'll start with Jordan. Come on, Jordan. All right. Jordan moves back. Now we're going after Syria. Syria moves back. All right. Holding our own. Syria advances. They're back. 3 offensives. Start with Syria. All right. Now we have 2 left. Let's do Syria again. Nope. 1 left. Syria 1 more time. What is that? I can't see it. It's a 4. That's what we needed. Lebanon and Jordan advance now. Lebanon knocking on the door. We can't let them beat us, that weak army. 3 offensives, +1 DRM versus Lebanon and Syria. So let's take care of that Lebanon piece first. Okay, so Lebanon's back. We have 2 offensives left. We have to take care of Jordan. We need a 4, 5, or 6, because remember, we get that +1 DRM there for our desperation offensive. We got a 3 + 1 is 4. Nope. 1 more. 4 + 1 is 5. They get pushed back. Here we go. Another chance for an armistice, this time with Egypt. I didn't miss an armistice in here. I'm sorry. I just got to check. I just want to make sure. We had Iraq. I didn't miss anybody else, did I? Nope. All right. Okay. So first of all, Lebanon and Jordan. Lebanon, Jordan advance. They're knocking on the doors. And we have a chance to knock Egypt out with an armistice. I'm going to take a chance. I am gonna take a chance and do this because I still have these chits over here. This is sort of like a make or break moment, I think. So let's do our first attack on Egypt with that +2. Good. Okay, so Egypt is done for the game. We'll have an armistice with them. Now I only have one attack left, but in effect I have 4 with these holding over here. So let's go after Jordan first. Again, it's just a +1 DRM now. Didn't get it. All right, we're flipping a chit. Didn't get it. Oh, come on. Just need a 4, 5, or 6. 4, 5, or 6. All right. We're going to use our last one against Lebanon. All right. So we are out of our extra offensive chits over here. So we're only halfway through the deck. This could be interesting. But, oh wait, Egypt's out. Okay, so Egypt's out. We have an armistice now with Egypt and Iraq. Lebanon advances. Lebanon being pesky. 2 offensives. Let's do it against Lebanon. All right, they go back. And our second one, what the heck, Lebanon again. Ah, pesky. No Arab armies advance. Yay! 2 offensives plus 1 DRM on all offensives. All right, we got to take advantage of this against Jordan. 2 knocks against Jordan. Come on, 5 or 6. There we go. 1 more offensive plus 1 DRM on all offensives. I want to try Jordan again because all we need is a 4, 5, or 6 to push him all the way back. And we got it. All right. I feel good about having Jordan all the way back there. Egypt and Iraq advance. No, they don't. 2 offensives, 1 DRM versus Syria. I will take advantage of that. Syria. Push them back. And our second would be against Lebanon, who gets pushed back. Egypt, no. Syria and Jordan advance. Syria and Jordan advance. 3 offensives plus 1 DRM on all of them. All right, we're attacking Jordan. 4, 5, or 6. Nope. Again, Jordan. 4, 5, or 6. Nope. Again, Jordan. 4, 5, or 6. Yes. Whew. All right, Jordan and Syria advance. Syria, Jordan, 2 offensives. Syria to start. No. Let's do against Syria again. Yes. All Arab armies on circle spaces advance. Jordan advances, and that's it. We get 3 offensives, plus 2 DRM on first offensive, plus 1 DRM on second, none on the third. This is one of the expansion cards. So we are going to do a plus 2 DRM versus Jordan on the first offensive, and it worked. We are going to go ahead and do another plus 1 DRM on Jordan on the second offensive. It worked. Third offensive, no DRM. We're going after Lebanon. All right. Iraq advances. No, they don't. And we get 2 offensives. Plus 1 DRM versus Lebanon. Not useful. And Lebanon will succumb to an armistice this turn. So it's just 2 offensives versus Syria. I got a 1. That didn't help. And a 5. All right. Lebanon is now out. So that's it. As far as I know, unless they added another armistice in the expansion, these are the only 3 armies that can work with an armistice. So Iraq, Egypt, and Lebanon are out. Now it's a race against time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, a dozen more cards, and we just have Jordan and Syria to worry about. Egypt, Syria, Iraq advance. Syria, no Jordan. So we get 2 offensives, both versus Syria. All right. Syria and Iraq advance. Syria again. 2 offensives. The DRM is for Jordan. Doesn't matter. We don't push Syria back that one, and we do on that one. Jordan advances. 2 offensives, but no attacks on circle spaces, so we can't attack Jordan. We have to flip another card. Lebanon and Iraq advance. They're both out. We get 1 offensive versus Jordan, and it's effective. It's a race to the finish. Jordan advances. 1 offensive. Fighting Jordan. Doesn't work. Egypt advances. No offensives. Jordan advances. No offensives. Egypt and Jordan advance. Jordan's knocking on our door. We get 2 offensives. The DRMs for Lebanon and Syria don't apply. So here we go. We get 2 offensives plus 1 DRM for both of them. All right, now the +1 DRM is gone. They're out of that desperation offensive spot. So it's just a regular 5 or 6. So hey, that's okay. They're back to the 2 spot. Egypt and Syria advance. They're both, Syria's in the game still. What am I thinking? Syria moves to the 3. 2 offensives, +1 DRM on all of them. Okay, we're going after Jordan. We got him back. And let's do Jordan again. They scare me. 4 + 1 is a 5. They are back. I think we're going to do this. Famous last words. Iraq advances. They're not in the game. We get 3 offensives. +1 DRM on them all. So we're fighting Syria. Syria's back. Only a couple cards. We got this, guys. This is exciting. Syria and Iraq advance. Syria advances. 2 offensives. Syria's back. And finally, Egypt and Lebanon advance. We get 3 offensives. Game over. Thank you, guys. It was up to you. You know, I've never been this successful, so I'm gonna say it's this my YouTube subscribers that helped out. So let's take a look at our victory points, and also we wouldn't have done so well without that optional rule for the desperation offensives and the extra 3 attacks here in this holding box. So, you know, clearly these games are not won this easily all the time. So maybe we did just have a great game, but also you could play with the rules and you know, limit how many of these extra attacks you get, etc. But anyway, enough of that. Let's revel in the victory. 6 points for each of these. That's 18 + 4 + 4. That's 18 + 8. That's 26. That is a crushing victory, folks. Crushing victory. I don't know that I will ever have as a successful live run-through of a States of Siege game on this channel ever again. I'm gonna mark this on my calendar or something. That's pretty cool. So we made it through the whole deck, and we even had Jordan and Syria still back at their starting spaces. Awesome stuff. Okay, so that was Israeli independence, the first Arab-Israeli War in 1948 to 1949 that I beat. Sorry. It's exciting to beat one of these victory point games, States of Siege games. It doesn't happen that often. That was the 22nd time that I've played this game and only the 3rd victory, so it's a big deal. You know, this victory did come with using the expansion kit with the additional 12 cards and the desperation offensive rule, but you know, there's nothing in this desperation offensive rule that says it's for weaklings or for people that want an easier game. So I'm going to assume I played by all legitimate normal rules and had a legitimate victory. That said, I'm recording this wrap up without having reviewed the video. And I'm really hoping I didn't make a mistake somewhere. But if I did, I'm sure I'll catch it during the editing, or one of you will catch it in the comments, as you always do, which I appreciate. So yeah, so it's cool that I won. This is a fun game. It's the first of many States of Siege games. I really want these series of videos on States of Siege to show the solitaire gamers out there that these games exist, because I see a lot of people on Board Game Geek talking about more traditional solitaire games like Onirim and Friday, which are great. But if you want something with a little bit more meat, okay, this one doesn't have a ton of meat on the bone, but what I mean is if you want something that maybe will get you thinking about world history, or thinking about you know, just other things, non-fantasy settings, you got to check out the States of Siege games. I've had the opportunity down here at a game store once a few weeks ago to talk to one of the designers who was working on an upcoming States of Siege type game, and you know, they care about trying to portray an important time in our country's history or world history in a playable game. And it's neat talking to the designers and understanding what they're trying to accomplish. And then, of course, you see someone like me playing the game who's just focused on which armies are moving, how many attacks do I get, flip the card. Obviously, I am not a student of Israel. I do not know a lot of the history. I'll admit I haven't read all of the flavor text. But I'll tell you what, I have learned more about this conflict than I would have known if I hadn't played the game. And I think, that's saying something. I wanted to know, why is the Lebanese army so weak in this game? And I found out. They really weren't involved except for in some minor battles. So solitaire players, these videos are for you. I want you to pay attention as I'm going through these. There's this whole other world of solitaire games out there that are more strategy and war game like in nature. I love the fact that people refer to these States of Siege games as war games, because it makes me feel like a war gamer. Sorry. I do like these games with more of an area focus where you're moving along a track a little bit more at this moment than the hex and counter games. The hex games, a lot more rules intensive, a lot deeper. But I've played those games. I have those games. I enjoy them too. The States of Siege series is just awesome. So I'll probably do a video blog here shortly. I realized that maybe it would have been good to sort of set this whole series of videos up with an explanation of all the games that I'd be running through, so you can sort of see, what's coming next. So I'll take care of that. I'll post a video on that. So again, to reiterate probably something I've already said, I want these videos to be out there for people looking for new areas of solitaire gaming to branch out into, because these are really good games. I don't want people to be put off by the fact that they come in polybags and don't have mounted map boards. With Victory Point Games, the gameplay is the thing, that's their motto, and I'm hoping through these videos you'll see that. And no motives here, I'm not being compensated by VPG or anything. I'm just a big fan, and the whole point of this channel is for me to share my gaming experiences with you, and these games excite me, they make me happy, they're fun to play, and I'm enjoying sharing them with you. So that's why I'm doing it. That said, I am really having a lot of fun with this channel. We're growing at a nice steady pace, and I love the additional comments I've been getting. More and more of you are leaving me comments, asking me questions, and that's the best part, the social aspect of it. So keep the questions coming, keep the comments coming. I really appreciate it. If you liked this particular video, go ahead and click the like button for me. If you are checking out one of my videos for the first time and you think you might want to hang around and become a subscriber and become part of the hands-on games community, please subscribe. Lots of cool things are going to be happening in the future. So that's it for tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed this look at Israeli independence, the first in a long line of Victory Point Games, States of Siege games that are focused on solitaire play, and more to come. Stay tuned. Thanks a lot.